If you are on the beach and you see a person screaming, waving their arms as if they appear to be in distress, please immediately call 911. We would much prefer to come down there and find nothing to it than have you wait a minute or two. That's often the difference between a rescue or a body recovery. Okay, now jellyfish and man-o-war are actually different. You know, a jellyfish is a jellyfish. A man-o-war is actually 4 different colonies of polyps that live together. It's an animal. It's much different, much different. Generally speaking, for our local waters here, an easy rule of thumb is if it has tentacles, it can sting. The more color, the more intense the sting. It's really not true. The color is for UV protection, but it does hold true for our wildlife here. If you have any underlying allergies to ant bites or bee stings and you get stung, first thing is if you get stung on your right arm but your rash is on your left arm, or it feels like you're having difficulty breathing, or it feels like your tongue is swelling, which is really your airway swelling around your tongue, immediately call 911. That's anaphylaxis. That's a life-threatening event. For all those folks who really don't have those problems, the easiest and best thing to do is simply get as much of the tentacle off of you as you can, then dry off, and then simply aim it towards the sun and bake it. Within about 15 to 20 minutes, it'll be gone. Okay, just realize there are jellyfish out there. Now we do keep vinegar spray here. I know there's a lifeguard here. We use meat tenderizer. The thought process was the meat tenderizer broke down the protein so the jellyfish couldn't sting you. With the vinegar, about half the stings are alkalotic, so you hit it with an acid and neutralizes it. The truth is, neither one of them really work. However, the vinegar is extremely cheap and inexpensive, so if you bring your child up to us squalling, we spray them down with our magic elixir, they stop crying, you're happy, we're happy. You know, the kid smells like an Easter egg the rest of the day, but largely it doesn't do a whole lot for them. Well, first and foremost is you want to avoid the burn right up front, because once again it does increase your chances for skin cancer, particularly in small children. It doubles their risk of skin cancer. So apply your sunscreen, like we said earlier. You know, an SPF of at least 15 needs to be applied at least 20 minutes before you get out in the sun, every 2 hours regardless of what you're doing, and when you get out of the water, dry off and reapply it. The best thing to do is to avoid it. Now, if you get out of the sun, there's an awful lot of little home remedies, if you will. There are some folks that say rub down with vinegar. There are some people that say take a really hot shower. There's lots of anecdotal evidence that may support that, but the reality is, once again, you just don't want to get burned in the first place. Well, the absolute best place to swim is always right in front of a lifeguard. Always. Always. I can't stress that to you enough. No one has ever drowned in front of a lifeguard out here. So clearly you want to swim with our lifeguards on duty. When we open up on March the 1st, we'll actually have lifeguards in the tower from about 10 until 5. Actually, 9:30 until 5. And then when we open up after daylight savings time, we'll have lifeguards on the beach from 10 to 6. So those times, come swim in front of a lifeguard. The most dangerous place out here is an area where there is not a lifeguard, particularly on the peripheries of the beach. It takes us much longer to get to you, and there's not many folks out there to call 911 for you. So clearly you want to swim where there are lifeguards. Rip currents. Stay out of the rip currents. Other than that, no. We're very blessed in this area, and that 60% of our island is for public use. We have more undeveloped, actually within the Pensacola Beach Santa Rosa Island Authority property than probably anywhere else along the northern Gulf Coast, if not the entire Florida. In addition to that, we're bordered on both sides with the Gulf Islands National Seashore, just beautiful, pristine beaches. So no, there is not anywhere. With the exception, during the summer we do have the bird nesting areas. If you see the placards up and it's roped off and it says bird nesting area, stay out of that. You will also see little areas, small areas, maybe 5 foot by 5 foot. They'll have the little 2x2 wooden stakes, and it'll say turtle nest. Stay out of those areas. That's one of our nesting turtles, and we're very protective of them. We do have a dune preserve down near the cross, so stay out of that area. But other than that, the rest of the island is fair game. Unfortunately, no, they cannot. When I was a high schooler out here, it was not illegal. We simply cleaned up after our animals. The problem is that more and more folks didn't, so there was an ordinance created which says you may not have an animal of any kind, with the exception of a service animal, on any of our beaches, that being the Gulf side or the Sound side. We're trying to make Pensacola Beach entirely a family zone. Now, many folks use the terms interchangeably, alcohol-free zone and family zone. On the west side of the pier, we have about a 2-acre area that's clearly marked off with signs, which is alcohol-free. So no alcohol containers in there. But once again, our desire is to make the entire beach family-friendly and a family zone for all. Well, there are some basic laws, and that is that most of the bars, if you will, the establishments, do have alcohol on premises. In other words, you really cannot take that drink out of that bar per se. In addition to that, within the public parking lots, which would be all of our public parking lots, including the Nodes, Park East, Pickens Gate, Casino, Quiet Water, the Vic, all those parking lots, no open alcohol, and that has been actually in existence since 1985, so it's nothing new. Unfortunately, though, if you have a container out there, the first time's a $100 fine, second time's $500 fine, third time's an arrest. So no open alcohol. On the beaches, no harm, no foul, just drink responsibly, no glass bottles of any kind. Because obviously if it breaks in the sand, it's a huge problem for us. And if you bring this stuff down, please take it back with you and throw it away responsibly.